Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between mouzMorrow and Grubby here on Terminus Lay. Yeah, I'm kind of confused. Sometimes it's like a Terminus RE, sometimes it's like a Terminus LE. I'll just probably refer to the map as Terminus from now on so that you guys know. I don't know the specific differences. It looks like, yeah, there's only 5 mineral patches here, a normal Vespene geyser, so not a rich one down over here. So it is going to not be able to give you nearly the same amount of resources, but it does help out Zerg in being able to establish a third base. Now, Grubby has been pretty consistent in this matchup. Terminus, a rather large map, so because of the size of the map, Grubby is opting to do it looks to be a fast expansion here on Terminus, as now we are gonna see what Morrow tries to go for. Morrow has normally opened up with an extractor followed by a spawning pool and then trying to expand later, but he may be able to get away with an earlier hatchery and trying to get a stronger economic lead. Now, Grubby, on the other hand, if he does go for an early Nexus, should also be able to get a very strong economy going, as it looks like there's not going to be any drone scouting, and Morrow pretty much sticking to the same build, his same build against Protoss, going for extractor followed by spawning pool. A lot of times, a lot of players are wondering, a lot of players ask me, or a lot of viewers ask me, why do players stick to the same strategies over and over if it didn't work the first 2 times? The reason behind that is players spend a lot of time to try to build and try to execute the best strategy that they know how against a specific matchup. And it's almost like saying, you know what, I may lose, but I'm going to lose with my best stuff. I don't want to lose just because I tried something new and it didn't work out. That would probably be even more devastating, knowing that you lost just because you tried something new and it wasn't your best, but it was different. These players have all really refined their strategies, really refined their build orders, and practiced tons and tons of hours. And that's how certain players like to play. There are other players like TLO, like Slayer SS Boxer, who really try for a more imaginative playstyle, where you never know what your opponent's going to try to go for. They try to change it up a little bit, and the benefit of that is it makes for a lot of very interesting games, in that you don't know what your player is going to go for. But at the same time, if they're successful, they're very successful. But when they fail, they really fail. Back over here, you can now see the gateway followed by a photon cannon. Cybernetics Core most likely will position itself right here as soon as he has 150 minerals, or perhaps even a pylon. Is he supply locked? He is supply locked for a little bit of time, but this Nexus by Grubby will help him out. Grubby now, yeah, getting that Cybernetics Core there with 1 photon cannon. He should also be getting a second cannon as well in order to try to fend off the attack, as we are now getting another Nexus down over here, being able to double train probes off of 2 bases with Chrono Boost. That will help him out significantly. 1 probe just waiting for that assimilator, no longer deciding to wait for that assimilator. Probes now also being transferred to that low ground as well. Grubby still yet to train 1 unit so far. There is a set of destructible rocks over here off of this backdoor entrance, so that is something that you have to be careful about. It looks like Grubby is able to see the destructible rocks though, so we'll see whether or not that comes into play, as the drone is still wandering around. There's that second photon cannon that I was mentioning just moments ago. This pylon, pretty safe in the back. I do not believe roaches can actually shoot down this pylon. They can, however, shoot those photon cannons, as those photon cannons are just offering enough protection before those roaches can get within combat range. Zerglings now going to try to test that front door, and I don't think that's going to be very successful at all. You can see the Zerglings now pecking away at these destructible rocks, taking some damage. 1 drone is going to get shot down there. Down it goes, as these rocks are just going to get slowly picked apart. Grubby still probably knows about this over here, but he has no way to really defend it at this time. We do see that the warp gate research now coming in. 1 Zergling just trying to test that front door, sees that it is completely walled off, and he's not going to try to do anything there, as roaches are now making their way out. So Morrow now making their way out with these roaches, and perhaps going to start shooting at these rocks in just a moment. Pylon is being warped in over here, and perhaps some gateways or trying to hide some additional attack, as these roaches are going to be able to make short work on this destructible rocks, and this is going to be a problem. I don't think Grubby actually has enough units to fend off. He's, however, getting some gateways to block over here, and he needs those photon cannons desperately. The sentries are now in trouble, as I'm not sure if there's going to be enough time. Another stalker needs to be added. No, another sentry now trying to be added as well. 2 photon cannons, a pylon or another building needs to be warped in here. This pylon now going to get destroyed, as the sentries are now going to try to battle it out. There are some photon cannons, and there's the force fields beautifully placed down, making it a little bit more difficult, but those units are going to be able to warp in and just run by now, getting some damage on. Now those Zerglings are going to make it up the ramp in just a few seconds, getting a lot of damage across these probes here. You can now see photon cannons are battling it out, trying to get some more damage. The sentries are trying to make their way through, getting some damage. That one roach on that, or the overlord on the high ground, as all the Zerglings were able to get some damage onto those probes. You can now see the roaches trying to just use that sight advantage by that overlord, as the sentries need to be very, very careful. Force fields now coming in once again. One sentry getting caught in the middle there, as another force field coming in. More units now being warped in behind, and Grubby looks like he has fended off this attack with those force fields. Nicely done. And perhaps those roaches, I believe there's actually enough range on those roaches to deal damage towards this forge without this photon cannon actually being able to fire back. So I think if Morrow actually tried to take down this forge, he would have been successful in doing so. And by taking down this forge, perhaps tried to split the armies. Grubby now warping in additional gateways. It looks like he's going into a 4-gate build with a robotics facility, another pylon on the low ground, acting as an early warning system. Harvester count, 45 probes compared to 23 drones. Morrow is in trouble. He needs to really power drone and get back into this game. But if he power drones now, even if he does catch up, his opponent Grubby is going to have a very large economic lead and will either have more units on. Yeah, there you go. There's the forge taking that damage, which I was noting earlier, and the roaches are now just able to peck off some of that damage. Oh, one roach down to 4 hit points, and now some stalkers also coming in as well. So the stalker now warping in on the wrong side. One low hit point roach, and not microed very carefully at all, as that stalker now trying to shoot down another roach, and that's not going to be a good trade at all, as that one stalker desperately trying to run away. It looks like it will be able to, as Grubby now chrono boosting off of that forge in order to get a stronger weapons upgrade. We are getting an observer now trained up in addition to the robotics bay for Colossi, and at some point this expansion needs to be established. What is he? Oh, apparently he didn't. Grubby did not like that burrowed supply depot there. Perhaps he wants to be able to build some additional buildings, and that supply depot would have been in the way. Overlord, all the Xel'Naga watchtowers activated in the center portion of the map. He does know what's happening, but Morrow, I think, is still in desperate trouble, in dire need of trying to do something very effective. You can see that the roaches and Zerglings are still here. Grubby hasn't really trained to change his strategy at all. Still going off of gateway and robotics facility units. He has not gone into Stargate play at all. And I think Stargate play would work out very well for him, actually. Stargate being able to train up those Void Rays. Void Rays very effective against roaches, especially when they're off of creep, as the Void Ray can move and attack in order to keep up with the roach to destroy it. Stalker now making their way over here. Gonna easily shut down that Overlord. And now there's no real sight coming into Morrow's base. I believe Morrow, however, did see the one robotics base, so he knows that some Colossi will be joining the fight. And perhaps we should be seeing a Spire, another hatchery being placed down here. So Morrow still significantly behind, trying to power drone, trying to train up. Grubby can easily move out and attack, but I think he's just trying to play it safe. He doesn't want to engage unless he knows that he has dominant forces, which he does at this time. Almost a 1,000 resource army against a 4,000, and there it is. There's the GG by Morrow. Morrow knowing that he has nothing left to fend off this attack by Grubby, and Grubby takes a 3-0 lead, takes a 3-0 win over Morrow in what I now know is a best-of-5 series. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this best of 5 series between Grubby and Morrow.